Honorable members, good afternoon. We are now starting. Honorable members, I welcome all members who have logged into the visual mini plenary session. There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Thank you very much. Honorable members, before we proceed, I would like to remind you that the visual mini plenary is deemed to be in the precinct of Parliament. And constitutes a meeting of the National Assembly for debating purposes only. In addition to the rules of visual sittings, the rules of the National Assembly, including the rules of debate, apply. Members enjoy the same powers and privileges that apply in a sitting of the National Assembly. Members should equally note that anything said in the visual platform is deemed to have been said to the House and may be ruled upon. All members who have logged in shall be considered to be present and are requested to mute their microphones and only unmute when recognized to speak. This is because the mics are very sensitive and will pick up noise which might disturb the attention of other members. When recognized to speak, please unmute your microphone and connect your video. Members may make use of the icon on the bar at the bottom of their screens, which has an option that allows a member to put up his or her hand to raise points of order. The Secretariat will assist in alerting the chairperson to members requesting to speak. When using the visual system, members are urged to refrain or desist from unnecessary points of order or interjections. We shall now proceed to the order, which is debate on vote 3 and 15, cooperative governance and traditional affairs appropriation bill. I now recognize the Honorable, the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Deputy Minister Bapela and other Deputy Ministers who are here, Honorable Chairperson and members of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable members, Chairperson of the National House of Traditional Leaders, Chairperson of the Commission and Promotion and Protection of the Rights of Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Communities, members of the Provincial Executive Committees, Chairperson of the Municipal Demarcation Board and its members, President of the South African Local Government Association, Chairperson of the IEC and members, Directors General of TCOC and DTA and the CEO of MISA. Today we stand in front of you and before the nation to present the budget votes 3 and 15 as proud servants of our people. We do so proud of our achievements and cognizant of our challenges that lie ahead. Today is 27 years and 3 days since the inauguration of our first democratically elected president, Dr. Nelson Mandela. We recall that on that occasion, Data said, I quote, "We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continued bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination, close quote. We also reiterate the words of the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan, who said, I quote, extreme poverty anywhere is a threat of human security everywhere. To these words, we add that injustice anywhere in the world is a threat to human security everywhere. We take this opportunity to denounce the recent attacks by Israelis and renew our solidarity to the Palestinian people's legitimate struggle for freedom. We also call for all cessation of hostilities. Honorable members, we celebrate 150 years of a fighter and defender of justice, Mam Charlotte Manye Maqeba. Her exemplary life in struggle and service of the people inspires us to act selflessly. Her legacy compels us to stand on the side of the masses of our people who are still hungry, poor, unemployed, unequal, discriminated, and economically excluded. These budgets lay a solid foundation and other budgets to set us on a path towards building resilient, safe, sustainable, prosperous, cohesive, connected, and climate-smart communities. We also subscribe to the truth as laid by our former ANC President, Comrade O.R. Tambo, who said, I quote, it is inconceivable for liberation to have meaning without the return of wealth of our country to the people as a whole. To allow the existing economic forces to retain their interest intact is to feed the roots of racial supremacy and exploitation, and does not represent even the shadow of liberation, close quote. Vote 3 sets aside over 100.8 billion in the 2021-22 financial year. 96 billion of that allocation constitutes transfers and subsidies to municipalities in the main. Vote 15 allocates 173 million to support developmental traditional leadership, which promotes participatory democracy and rural development, as well as agriculture. Honorable members, we confront these daunting tasks in the midst of the biggest pandemic and economic crisis since the Spanish flu of 1918 and the Great Depression of 1930. COVID has therefore placed added pressure on government services. Despite these pressures, our internationally acclaimed response to COVID-19 has stood the test of time. It has confirmed the resilient and fighting spirit of this great nation. The president in the State of the Nation address likened this spirit to that of the famed horse, which he said, can adapt to dry, hot summers, cold, rainy winters, is wondrous in its diversity, close quote. Indeed, our response has been adaptive and has harnessed our nation's diversities, guided by the Disaster Management Act and the risk-adjusted strategy, which has been strengthened by the sacrifices made by millions of our people. However, the war has not been won. There is an ever-present danger that the rate of infection may rapidly increase. Even as we roll out the mass vaccination program, vulnerabilities are high, particularly amongst the young. More than ever before, we must adhere to the protocols of masking, washing hands, sanitizing, and maintaining a safe social distance. We extend our condolences to the families, friends, and colleagues of MECs, members of parliament, and legislators, councillors, as well as community members who have lost their lives and lost their loved ones. Those include traditional leaders such as King Goodwin Zelutini Kapegu Zulu, King Victor Tulare, and the Queen Noloyiso Sandile, who have succumbed to COVID-related illnesses. Of course, we also take this opportunity to extend our condolences to the royal family, Zulu royal family, who recently lost their Queen Regent due to non-COVID illness. Honorable members, in implementing the DDM in the pilot sites, we have also committed to training more than 1,000 young people in partnership with the Department of Rural Development. We are pleased to give you progress and announce that so far, 554 young people have completed their training in agriculture-related areas, such as production and processing of maize, vegetables, beef, dairy, and pork. These young people will either be placed in agricultural institutions or will be supported to start community-based initiatives. 319 young people have been trained in a range of non-agricultural areas, including small business management, environmental waste management, hospitality, construction, and manufacturing. Of these young people, 73 have been provided business opportunities by the King Sabata Dalindyebo municipality. 25 have been absorbed by eThekwini Metro. 100 have been absorbed by the wholesale and retail sector, who will provide them with startup capital. In Waterberg, a further 53 young people are being trained in small business management, environment, waste management, and hospitality. Honorable members, in order to reverse the apartheid spatial planning legacy, we have allocated 2.9 billion in the MTSF period to the OR Tambo district. This allocation has enabled the implementation of 19 water projects, 12 sanitation projects, and 47 road projects. These will be complemented by 12 community implemented projects to the value of 173 million, including the secondary bulk water project in Kandula. Indeed, we are hard at work. Through our recently launched partnership with the United Nations, we have assembled business solution centers. The centers will unlock the necessary value chains for decent work and sustainable development. Through the centers, community-driven businesses, SMEs, cooperatives will receive capacity building and support in areas such as agriculture, the oceans economy, tourism, energy, and green economy. We undertook visits to several districts, including Herigwala, Ilembe, Zululand, Alfred Nzo, in the Winnie Madikizela Mandela municipality, in Zululand, and OR, together with the champions. Some of these visits have been accompanied by the delivery of much needed services. For instance, when we visited Abaqulusi local municipality in Zululand, there we launched the water supply infrastructure for Bokwe in Ward 5 in the Abaqulusi local municipality. This innovative supply and water filter system cost a fraction of building dams and larger reservoirs. There is also a water treatment works plant in the benefit of the residents of Emondo who live in Ward 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Honorable members, we are a responsive and caring government. And therefore, we've put aside close to 618.9 million in national and municipal allocations to address the water and sanitation challenges. Through this allocation, MISA and the Department of Water and Sanitation has impacted on 636,000 households in 205 municipalities. The households have been beneficiaries of the 15,487 water storage tanks, 1,382 water tankers, and 235 boreholes. But at the same time, honorable members, our visits have also brought to the fore the lived reality of water injustices, which are part of us as a result of us being the 30th driest nation in the world. This reality is compounded by the legacy of apartheid and the infrastructure maintenance shortcomings. These have resulted in residents of rural South Africa and less affluent areas having no access to water. To address this, we are pleased to announce that the meek receiving municipalities are now permitted to spend up to 10% of their budget in urgent water and sanitation repairs and refurbishment. This is over and above the 8% norm of maintenance work. Honorable members, we are also paying particular attention to closing the gender gap. This gap has seen an underrepresentation of women in all economic sectors and in the undervaluation of unpaid care work, which is largely conducted by women. Consequently, all the plans developed in the context of DDM carry with them the gender-responsive budget targets and indicators. If we cannot attach this gender approach to our activities and budgets, we will never be able to maintain sight on gender equality. For us, this is not an act of charity, but a recognition that no country can claim to be free until its women are free, as once said by President O.R. Tambo. By focusing on the interrelated pillars of skills revolution, unlocking economic value chains, social transformation, and service delivery enhancement, greater impact will be guaranteed. Ultimately, we intend to transform the economic landscape and ownership patterns in the districts. This we will achieve through creating a new crop of Black industrialists who will be at the forefront of creating local jobs and economic development. Already, honorable members, the National House of Traditional Leaders has launched the Invest Rural Master Plan, which seeks to optimize the rural industrial structure by availing 1.5 million hectares of land. The Invest Rural Master Plan will change the social and economic landscape of South Africa. It will reverse the colonial and apartheid established migration patterns, such that people will migrate out of rural South Africa out of choice, not desperation. Deputy Minister Bapela will elaborate on this groundbreaking initiative. Honorable members, the Community Works Program, with all its challenges, remains an important lifeline for a huge number of people. The key challenges in this program relate to the administration and model which favors a select few NGOs or NPOs. We have turned the corner with regards to the administrative challenges and are recording progress in key areas such as the on-time payment of participants. Additionally, we have enhanced the management information system so that it can interface with other government systems, such as the Home Affairs system and PESAL. This will enable us to identify fraudsters and corruption and corrupt officials in that system. Once we have finalized the remodeling, we will be able to identify and target community-based initiatives Once identified, we intend to upskill the participants in key areas such as agriculture, paving of roads, fixing of potholes, fisheries, to name but a few. Once trained, we intend to exit the participants by providing them with employment supporting their SMMEs or cooperatives. In so doing, we'll be able to pave a way for new cycles of participants. This year, we have targeted 250,000 participants. Honorable members, the DDM sets us on a long-range planning path, which requires the attainment of short and medium-term goals. In this regard, work is afoot in the pilot sites where we are finalizing the one plans and one budget. The plans also make a case for the development of the oceans economy and South Africa's coastline. Consequently, the Premier of KZN in this year's State of the Province announced the development of the entire KZN Eastern Seaboard, which includes the districts of Uku, Ilembe, and King Cetshwayo. This development is to be complemented by the ongoing work undertaken in the Eastern Cape, part of which includes the Wild Coast and beyond. All this and all our plans will require interprovincial, intergovernmental planning, collaboration, and implementation. We've met with the two provinces separately, and we soon have a joint meeting and then their districts. Last month, the Premier of Limpopo also convened the national and provincial political champions for the Limpopo districts. Going forward, we will prioritize the 10 poorest districts. The government cannot develop these localities alone. We need the input of our communities, civil society, private sector, investors, and international partners. Honorable members, according to Stats SAA, only 45% of households can keep up with the water payments. Unemployment is on the increase, with reaching the record high of 32.5, as is poverty, with 60% of our population living below the upper poverty line. This, together with the negative effects of COVID, has resulted in residents being unable to keep up with their payments. Thus, the debt to and by municipalities are on the rise. The increase of debt is also compounded by losses suffered by municipalities, which are as a result of not maintaining and repairing municipal infrastructure. For instance, municipalities buy water, but before they can sell it, big proportion is lost through leaks and old pipes. To this end, we have agreed with the National Treasury that municipalities can use up to 10% of the 55.3 billion we have allocated for the various grants over the MTSF. The complexities of assessing these grants, the reallocation rebooks, and the historic underspending has also led to us to explore alternatives with the National Treasury. Honorable members, it is critical that the resources entrusted on us by the public are efficiently and effectively used. We are pleased to announce that the Department of Traditional Affairs and MISA have maintained their clean audits, and that the Department of Cooperative Governance has registered an improvement, moving from the disclaimer to a qualified audit. We are not yet there. We will not rest until all the departments receive unqualified and clean audits. Honorable members, the recent tropical cyclone Eloise visited 7 provinces and 31 of our districts, leaving behind untold destruction and hardship. 53 people have lost their lives and 3 people are still missing. And we wish to extend our condolences to those who have lost their loved ones In future, we can avoid these miseries by strengthening our preventative and responsive measures. It is therefore important that the provinces and municipalities ensure that they do not build on flood lines, that they also assist communities to ensure the structures they construct are disaster and hazard resilient. All of us have the responsibility to heed the warnings when it comes to disaster. An instrumental forum in minimizing fatalities and casualties from Tropical Storm Eloise was the Intergovernmental Committee on Disaster Management, which involved all spheres of government. Going forward, we intend to reinforce the operating model and framework of the disaster management. This will also entail the convening of the National Disaster Management Advisory Forum, as provided for by the Disaster Management Act. We are also unlocking current impediments with the National Treasury, which include the removal of the requirement for the issuance of declaration prior to flow of funds. Honorable members, the Traditional and Khoisan Leadership Act commenced on the 1st of April, and we're in the process of appointing the associated commission. We're also grateful for the difficult work undertaken by the Portfolio Committee and Parliament to finalize the Municipal Structures Bill. Also, our intention to finalize the consideration of the House of Municipal Demarcation Authority Bill. Despite the challenges presented by COVID, the Demarcation Board managed to hand over its work to the IEC. We are therefore confident that the experience we have gained in the various by-elections were ready for 2021 local government elections. These 147 by-elections, which have run between November and March, were in 133 wards and in all provinces, involving more than 800,000 voters. We'll also use the 19th May polls, which involve 40 wards in 7 provinces, to refine our approaches. We remain confident that the regulations, protocols, and plans we've put in place for these and the nationwide October elections will create an environment for free and fair elections. The revised COVID-19 regulations at the moment enable—
Honorable Minister, we thank you very much. The allocated time is over.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please support the vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Because of the meeting.
Honorable members, we now call Honorable Mutambi.
Chair, there is a member that is having his microphone on and is disturbing us in the meeting, Chairperson.
Yes, we kindly request that member to please mute. Honorable Mutambi.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Let me take this opportunity to greet our Minister and the Deputy Minister, Bapela, including the chairpersons of the various institutions that report to this portfolio. I want to greet the chairperson of the Demarcation Board of the CRL Rights Commission with fellow commissioners and the CEO, also the chairperson of SALGA and the CEO, including the 2 DGs of the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Chairperson, during our struggle years against apartheid, we understood very well that with freedom comes responsibility, With democracy comes accountability to our people. To this end, from the 14th to the 28th of April 2021, the Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs met and considered the 2021-2022 Annual Performance Plan, strategic plans and budgets of the department and the entities reporting to it. This consists of the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, the Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent, the CRL Rights Commission, the Municipal Demarcation Board, and the South African Local Government Association. The resolve of our democratic government with the ANC as a governing party is to defeat the triple challenges of unemployment, inequality, and poverty. The people's priority are our priority. Therefore, the priorities of the Department of Cooperative Governance for the period under review resonate with many of the key issues that have preoccupied the committee's legislative, public participation, and over municipal infrastructure grant expenditure, the implementation of Section 139 of the Constitution, municipal financial viability, the functionality of municipal public accounts, and disaster hazards. However, Chairperson and honorable members, the battles on the frontiers of development, which we champion as the ruling party, never comes without a measure of setbacks. In this regard, there remains a significant gap in terms of the department's support to district municipalities as to enable them to appreciate and understand their role in respect of municipal health services. The need for this became more evident last week, where the committee undertook a week-long oversight visit to the province of the Northwest. Not a single one of the 4 districts in the province were able to respond satisfactorily to the question posed in relation to their municipal health services function. And none of them had entered into service level agreements with their local municipality, including the Department of Health in this regard. The department must attend to this as a matter of urgency, especially this time when health risks. Our victory are the people's, which we, as the portfolio committee of this parliament, are the custodians of. Therefore, we want to welcome our chairperson, the commitment of the 44 district municipalities to reduce infrastructure backlogs and improve performance on the municipal infrastructure grant. We have had a series of engagements with a number of districts and local municipalities, and the question of support by MISA has come up repeatedly. A major concern has been around the capacity constraints at MISA, including shortage of personnel, which has seen instances where there are only 4 engineers available to support a whole province. The department must also give this urgent attention to the matter and follow up in its previous pronouncement relating to the capacitating of the municipal infrastructure support agent. As we conduct oversight on behalf of our people, particularly the women, the poor, and the marginalized, we do justice by highlighting various concerns. Our major concern with the Department of Cooperative Governance is around the community's work program. On numerous occasions, the committee has requested specific information to help us understand better the challenges facing the program and provide the necessary oversight. We therefore implore and appeal to the department to strive to work with us in this regard. Honorable members, Chapter 12 of our beloved Constitution epitomizes dignity for our traditional systems, which we embrace as a facet of our modern democracy and an important vehicle for social reconstruction. We note the priorities of the Department of Traditional Affairs for the period under review, including the extensive emphasis on the role of the institution of traditional leadership in curbing the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. Gender-based violence, femicide, violence against the LGBTQ+ community, and promoting gender representation and women empowerment within the structures of traditional leadership. On its recent oversight to the Northwest, this portfolio committee has found that there's still much to be done to support the institution of traditional leadership as to enable it to have a meaningful role in government operations. The other issue that is of critical importance, honorable members, none of the 22 municipalities which we visited in the province of the Northwest were not aware of the coming into effect of the Traditional and Cohesion Leadership Bill, which became Act 2019, and its implication for municipal operation, including the standing orders of councils. This points to insufficient public education and training on the part of the Department of Traditional Affairs, as well as inadequate preparation for the implementation of the Act. The Department of Traditional Affairs must therefore ratify this as a matter of urgency, as recommended in the committee's oversight report. This House, honorable members, recently passed the Customary Initiation Bill, which aims to address the scourge of fatalities and injuries resulting from the corruption of male cultural initiation custom in certain parts of the country. We are very sad to note that 13 initiates yet again lost their lives over the December initiation season in the Eastern Cape. The department must therefore follow up on its resolution to ensure that those who insisted on the resumption of initiation in the province take responsibility for these deaths. In this year of Charlotte Matleke, we salute all leaders and foot soldiers that fought for our freedoms over many decades, which culminated into our victorious and world-class constitution. Amongst many of its highlights, it guarantees cultural, religious, and linguistic rights. We note, therefore, the challenges impeding the CRL Rights Commission from fulfilling its mandate optimally, as indicated in its annual performance plan. These are not new challenges, as they have also been raised in previous annual performance plan as far as back the third administration. The issue of inadequate funding in particular underpins most of the difficulty facing the Commission. We have therefore committed ourselves using every opportunity to advocate for increased funding to the Commission as to reduce the mismatch between the Commission's social cohesion mandate vis-a-vis the financial resources at its disposal. At the same time, we urge the Commission to address the matters that are within its sphere of control, such as developing a clear resource mobilization strategy and preventing irregular expenditure. As we recognize the injustice of the past and honor those who have suffered for justice and freedom in our land, we also recognize the need to manage municipal boundaries. The Municipal Demarcation Board has demonstrated its commitment towards ensuring that the demarcation of municipal boundaries results in creation of sustainable municipalities that can fulfill their constitutional obligation. However, there is still much to be done to make this commitment a reality. During our recent engagement with most of the municipalities that has been subject of demarcation during 2016 local government electoral cycle, the predominant view was that the demarcation process has tended to worsen rather than improve municipal financial viability. Consequently, the board has been presented with demands of the reversal of this demarcation. We call upon the executive authority to accelerate the process of amending the Municipal Demarcation Act in order to deal decisively with these challenges. Finally, we note the critical gaps in the legislative environment that prevent the South African Local Government Association from maximizing the impact of the support provided to municipalities, particularly the support provided to municipalities which lack of legal provision for extending the SALGA to the reports contemplated in Section 106 of the Municipal Systems Act and Section 71 of the Municipal Finance Management Act. This is a very serious shortcoming, as we've witnessed a lack of appetite for the implementation of the Section 106 recommendation by municipality, as well as poor utilization by municipality, as well as poor utilization of early Section 71 reports as early warning mechanism. In conclusion, Honorable Member, I wish to thank the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, the Commission, the Demarcation Board, MISA, and SALGA for the cordial and constructive engagement. This contribution has made our work very easier. And then I want to also thank the colleagues as well as the committee
Thank you very
support
much.
staff, which
Honorable
they
Member.
support. The committee therefore support budget vote 4 and vote 3 and 15. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. The next speaker is the Honorable C. Brank.
Thank you, Chairperson. Recently, the two words step aside have gained new political meaning in South Africa. Step aside, says the Getleng River Residents Association to their local municipality in the Northwest. Says Astral Foods to Lekwa local municipality in Mpumalanga. Says municipalities run by the Democratic Alliance in the Western Cape to Eskom. Step aside so we can relieve the ANC of the responsibility of government and ensure that water is clean, money is well spent to the benefit of the poor, and that load shedding doesn't destroy businesses and jobs. Step aside because enough time and money and human potential have been wasted by factionalism, tribalism, and greed. Following the leadership of the country bottom up, President Cyril Ramaphosa is now telling some of his own comrades to step aside. And when the president implores people to vote against corrupt leaders, we can only wonder which party the president will be left to canvass for in October's local government election. Step aside is also the message implicit in the latest Municipal Financial Sustainability Index produced by Ratings Africa. They say that troubled municipalities need a 51 billion rand bailout from national government to survive a liquidity crisis. The minister, her department responsible for supporting municipalities, did not make mention of this today. The DA has fought against money being diverted from basic services to bail out SAA and other zombie state-owned entities. But this does not mean that municipalities should now be bailed out. If a municipality is run by a mayor and municipal manager who are corrupt or incompetent, giving that municipality more money will only increase its output of irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. To prevent the financial and institutional collapse of municipalities, we need to dig deeper. We need to go back to the beginning of democratic local government. To quote Aristotle, the mistake lies in the beginning. Well begun is half done. So an error at the beginning, though quite small, has the proportion of a half of the whole matter. So as to the question, what were the errors at the beginning of democratic local government? Here are the answers. Mistake number 1, cadre deployment, an ANC policy adopted at Mafeking in 1997 for the stated purpose of subsuming the state under the party. If politicians want to advance their party political agenda, they must stand for parliament or provincial legislature or the local council. People should not be appointed based on a political loyalty as municipal managers, CFOs, chief engineers, and city planners. These jobs require non-political skills and attitudes. The ban on municipal officials holding political office in a party, a provision of the Municipal Systems Amendment Act passed late last year, is a step in the right direction. But the shameless defense by President Ramaphosa of this unconstitutional practice at the Zondo Commission is a cause for serious concern. Mistake number 2, race-based employment equity plans, a requirement of the Employment Equity Act of 2001. It doesn't matter whether you apply regional or national racial targets in appointing and promoting municipal officials. The effect is to narrow the pool of skills and expertise available in local government. Take municipalities in the Northwest and the Free State, for example. They'll struggle to promote engineers and financial managers who happen to be of Indian descent into top management positions without flunking their own race-based employment equity plans. This is because South Africans of Indian descent, according to the demeaning rule of racial demographic representativity, make up less than 5% of the economically active population in those provinces. And yet, I can wager that people who live in a bankrupt, broken municipality could not care less about the race of their local municipal officials, only that those officials are competent. And mistake number 3, BEE and preferential procurement, a combination of cadre deployment and race quotas in the spending of government money. These policies do not empower ordinary people. They further enable state capture, elite enrichment, and the breakdown of services and infrastructure. These policies also prevent municipalities from compensating for their internal weaknesses, making it near impossible for them to procure value for taxpayers' money, locking them into a loop of failure. It is time for change at the ballot box, but also here in Parliament. While voters can this year tell ANC councillors and mayors to step aside, it is also time for the country to sidestep failed ANC policies. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Frank. The next speaker is from the EFF, the Honorable Mukhalipi.
Thank you very much, Chair. The EFF rejects Cooperative proposed austerity budget. Chairperson, Section 152 of the Constitution mandates the local sphere of government to, amongst others, provide democratic and accountable local government to communities, ensure that services are provided to communities, in particular poorest of the poor. This debates Chairperson of the Annual Performance Plan and Budget Votes of the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs for the year ending 31st March 2021 is taking place right after the oversight of the Portfolio Committee of Cooperative in Northwest. Chairperson, we were all left traumatized by the state of all municipalities. It was a completely disaster. We all agree that there are no municipalities left there. The first problem is corruption that is engulfing the province. Just recently, the mayor of JP Mark's local municipality, who just resigned, in adding to a long list of mayors, municipal managers, and other officials who have resigned or fired on the account of corruption. In Matlosana local municipality is just one typical example of many decaying municipalities across the country. Matlosana Council does not sit because they are afraid of thugs who have taken over the municipality, like in eThekwini, where the AG was once prevented to do the auditing through guns, and the chief executive official of this municipality attacked at his house at some point to stop him investigating corruption that is still taking place in this municipality of eThekwini. Matlosana local municipality and many other municipalities owe Eskom millions of rands and owe water boards even more millions. The money is spent on electricity and water, but is never paid to Eskom or water boards. While our people do not have water, electricity, money is just being looted left and right. You begin to ask yourself, if the council cannot meet to take decision, Chairperson, how do they perform their work as public representatives to service communities? People of Northwest, as the province, is under administration. The Northwest as a province is under administration, and the people are suffering due to corruption. And because people, they don't have electricity, infrastructure is collapsing, there are no roads, there is no water, people are just suffering. This is not the case in Northwest alone, but is common across all provinces. In some of the municipalities there in Northwest, Chairperson, is madness, is totally madness. We were told that in Ratlo, in Tswaing, in Disobotla municipalities, they have 2 mayors. We simply don't have capable leaders. The ruling party has lost control of all of this. The chairperson in the portfolio committee of COCTA asked mayors during the oversight and municipal managers during the oversight if they have read the Municipal Systems Act, and all of them, ngaphandle kwamahloni, all of them, they are not even ashamed, Chair, to admit that they have not read it. But these are the people entrusted with their responsibilities of leading the municipalities. The Auditor General pointed out to large sum of money that are used on consultants in all municipalities across the country. But still, the financial systems of municipalities are far from improvements. At one point, we were told that in Northwest, people are buying certificates to become CFOs. They are buying these certificates from the province of Eastern Cape and is well known in the Northern Cape, but there's nothing that is being happening in order to bring these tax to books. Wasteful expenditure Irregular expenditure, unauthorized and fruitless expenditure accounts for billions. And these municipalities are ensuring that MPEC and disciplinary boards are permanently dysfunctional to write off these billions through council resolution at the end. At the end, no one will be held accountable for this plain looting. A case in point is the chair of MPEC of Umbashem local municipality. During our portfolio committee meeting, she couldn't explain how did MPEC decide written off UIFW. It was a disgrace. Collapsed local government must be blamed squarely for the failure of the ruling party. There is no political will to remove and replace the corrupt ANC deployees. Since we arrived here in Parliament as the EFF since 2014, we have outlined a clear, cogent, and practical way out of this mess we found ourselves in. We started the clear call for revision of the Division of Revenue Bill to solve the systematic budget allocation issues, to ensure that we deal with unfunded mandates of basic service delivery in local government and solve apartheid spatial planning. We said you cannot solve local government spatial challenges without resolving the land question. Municipalities need land to build infrastructure, to build water pipes, to build sanitation and sewer pipes, to build recreational facilities. But also, we need to resolve land questions so that we repurpose local government into a sphere of economic activities. Each and every municipality must be an economic hub on its own to create jobs, employ people, and people will in future be able to pay for their services. We must appoint only qualified people to work in municipalities, engineers, artisans, town planners, geographers, and other skilled professions, and do away with outsourcing of basic services. I think it's disingenuous for the minister to come here and announce a new program that is a joint program with the Department of Agriculture. We just have to ask the minister as to what happened to community work program that we always demand answers from the department, and up to still to date, we have not get satisfactory answers about the community work program that is an initiative of the department. This is costing millions of taxpayers, and the department is failing to account for this.
Honorable Muthaleti.
But Chairperson, I have 7 minutes. I've spoken to 6 minutes, Chair.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Chair. So let alone the program is used by the ANC to isolate the needy community members who qualifies for it. The minister is not prioritizing this issue, let alone that the community, the members of the members of the committee in the portfolio committee have been raising this issue now and again since we are demanding to note what happens with this program that's supposed to go and help people on the ground. So the minister can't come here and then announce on the new program in total. So we need the minister to account for this program first before she comes here and announce on a new initiative by the department. We reject this budget, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Thank you very much. The next speaker is from the IFP, the Honorable S.A. Buthelezi. The Honorable Buthelezi. Do we have Honorable Buthelezi?
Chairperson, may I intervene? I'm sorry, it's the Honourable van der Merwe from the IFP.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Chairperson, please maybe proceed to the next speaker. Our speaker got logged out due to connection issues. So if we could just come back later. I'm sorry about that, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you very much, Honourable Member. EFF plus, FF plus, Meneer Groenewald.
I lead. Honorable Chairperson, if we look at local government, the correct recipe should be a balance of community needs versus that of the available resources to ultimately serve residents in a set border. The Constitution states the core function of a municipality, how it should spend its resources, protect the environment and its obligation toward the residents. Die realiteit is egter dat plaaslike regering totaal misluk. Munisipaliteite is bankrot, skuld hul krediteure miljarde, Basiese dienste soos watervoorsiening en vullisverwydering vind nie plaas nie, terwyl munisipaliteite verantwoordelik is vir die besoedeling van skaars waterbronne. Die rede vir hierdie mislukking is nie 'n tekort aan fondse nie en is ook nie apartheid nie. The reason for incomplete infrastructure projects is not insufficient funds. It is rather the mismanagement of funds and corruption. One example is the 8 megalitre sewage plant that is being constructed in an Lady municipality in Northwest. The plant's construction has already cost an exorbitant 120 million, but there is further funding needed to complete the project. This new plant has thus been standing dormant for the last 18 months due to the inflated cost of the plant and poor planning. Municipalities should prioritize infrastructure that already exists and not only new capital projects. Municipalities should be the custodians of infrastructure and assets on behalf of the communities they serve. There's a lack of routine maintenance and municipalities fail to safeguard infrastructure from the vandalism, theft and destruction. In Matlusana, sports stadiums have been robbed of all copper cables and buildings burned to such an extent that these facilities cannot be used. Gemeenskapsale word geplunder en stuk vir stuk weggedra. Waterpype en kleppe word gesteel wat tot waterlekke en vermorsing van honderde duisende liter water lei. Munisipale werkers word deur bendes geïntimideer en daar word selfs munisipale amptenare vermoor. Hiervan as gevolg van ANC faksiegevegte. Faksiegevegte terwyl betalende inwoners geen dienste ontvang. Faksiegevegte terwyl die armste van die armste daaronder ly, want vir 27 jaar het die regering eerder gesteel as om dienste aan hierdie gemeenskappe te lewer en omstandighede te verbeter. The infighting is about who and which faction remains in power or can get power in order for them to can help themselves and their cadres to taxpayers' hard-earned money and deprive the poorest of the poor from basic services. Local government is currently in crisis management mode. There is an action when the crisis had already happened. There are many looming crises. Sinkholes which are left to get bigger, sewage leakages which are left to pump millions of liters of sewage into water sources, landfill sites which do not comply with the relevant legislation prescripts, refuge which are not regularly removed, creating serious health risk for residents, animals, and the environment. The non-compliance to laws and regulation leaves local government unaccountable to people and non-transparent. For years has been a complete lack of consequent management. There is no consequences for officials who transgress or mismanage. It seems as though the ANC government of municipalities regard the constitution and legislation as toilet paper. Daar's goeie wetgewing munisipale finansiële en algemene bestuur bepaal. Daar's egter bitter min voldoening hieraan. Selfs munisipaliteite se eie bywette word deur munisipale administrasies geïgnoreer. Waarvoor gebruik die ANC amptbekleerders hierdie wetgewing? Toiletpapier. An accountable local government is where appointed officials are done based on merit, where the qualified person is appointed, and where service contractors are also appointed based on if they will be able to provide the service and their cost effectiveness. Stop affirmative action appointments, cadre deployment, and BEE. These policies are breeding ground for corruption and ineffective local government, which do not deliver basic services. The majority of municipalities have recently tabled proposed increases of 20% in electricity tariffs. This is unsustainable and will result in even more job losses and failed businesses. In these dire circumstances, an environment should be created to sustain private enterprise by rates and taxes relief rather than increases. If corruption and inflated prices of procurement stops, this would be possible. Increases in tariffs while service is not delivered, people are expected to pay more for something they do not receive. If drastic change do not occur, the future looks bleak. The Constitutional Court ruling in the case of Radaman versus Makwakwa municipality should be noted. No money is due and payable to a municipality for services not rendered. Municipalities are too big. We need smaller municipal units where service delivery is nearer to the people. Honourable Minister, you are lying to South Africa. The government is not a caring government. It's a government in chaos. Die enigste oplossing vir mislukking van munisipaliteite is op 27 Oktober. Kiesers moet opstaan, saamstaan en sterk staan om van die onbevoegde ANC-regering ontslae te raak. Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you,
not lying.
Honorable Groeneval. I would really advise you that one should always refrain from using a language that is offensive to say another member is lying. It is unparliamentary. It is unparliamentary, Honorable Groeneval. And it should have been withdrawn.
If the minister can show me a municipality that's actually working, then I'll withdraw.
Honorable member.
Point of order.
Could you please withdraw that and please do it unconditionally. I'd really appreciate that so that we can continue with our debate.
Sorry, Chairperson, but I will not withdraw because it's the truth.
Honorable
Point of
member,
order.
out of order. Okay. Who's making a point of order?
It's Member Papo. The member is
Honorable
defying.
Papo.
The member is defying the ruling of a presiding officer, violating the rules on parliamentary language. I think, presiding officer, you have to make a decision on such a member remaining in the meeting for defying your ruling.
Thank you, Honorable Papo. I was just about to make Honorable Groenewald aware that what he is doing is unacceptable, and I would therefore request him to be withdrawn from this platform unless he changes his mind and withdraw. Honorable Groenewald, I'm giving you another chance.
Because
Pardon me?
I will not
Honorable,
withdraw, Chairperson. It is the
thank
truth.
you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Groenewald. We'll request IT to remove Honorable Groenewald from the platform. I'm sure IT has taken care of that. We now move to the Deputy Minister, the Honorable, the Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you very much. The Minister of COGTA, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, Honorable Chairperson and members of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable members of Parliament and Deputy Ministers that have joined us, Chairperson of the National House of Traditional and Quiescent Leaders, Nkosi Mahlangu, Chairperson of the Commission of the Promotion and Protection of Rights of Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Communities, Prof. Musoma, members of the Provincial Executive Committee, COGTA and COGSTA, Chairperson of the Municipal Demarcation Board and its members, President of South African Local Government Association, Director Generals of DCOG and DTA, Ms. Avril Williamson and Mr. Mashwatli Dipofa, CEO of MISA and head of the National Disaster Management Center. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday, May 12, we celebrated the International Nurses Day under the theme, #We Answer the Call. The theme serves in great honor of Umama Charlotte Manya Makleke, and selfless first female Black graduate. She obtained a BSc degree from Wilberforce University, Ohio in 1903, at the time when African women were treated as fourth-class non-citizens on account of the triple oppression of race, class, and gender. This year, we celebrate the life and times of Charlotte Manya Makleke, our struggle stalwart, who is a giant and a trailblazer in her own right. I present Budget 3 and 15 under the backdrop of hard-hitting economic challenges amid the worldwide pandemic of coronavirus, COVID-19 as we know it. As a country, we have mourned the passing of nearly 54,900 of our fellow South Africans as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The told and untold damage caused by COVID-19 has left deep scars in our pained society. Many have lost loved ones, income, jobs, livelihoods, and businesses. However, because we are a resilient nation in possession of a fighting spirit, we dare not lose hope. To call the words of the Nobel laureate Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who reminded us that, and I quote, "Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness," close quote. A guiding and caring light during these trying times have been the brave and fearless frontline workers whom we expressed our deep gratitude for the important work they continue to undertake. Honorable members, we also salute all local government essential service workers who remain steadfast at the front line of our fight against COVID-19. Thanks to the everyday efforts of these workers, we have lights, clean water, refuse is being collected, and most streets are clean. We are cognizant to the fact that the economic challenges had a great negative effect on local government. Consequently, we are working together for the economic recovery and renewal plan to take root in the municipality so as our people can get jobs And with that, our communities will be able to pay for their municipal services and thus improve on the local government revenue. During the 2015 budget vote, we committed to the finalization of the Traditional and Quiescent Leadership Governance Bill to give effect to an effective milestone in the history of our democracy, which is the recognition and affirmation of quiescent leadership structures and communities. The year 2021 is of a particular importance to traditional and special quiescent communities and their leaders. The long-awaited Traditional and Quiescent Leadership Act 29 commenced
Honorable Minister, we have lost the DM. Honorable Mapela.
Yes, I am still here. Can you see?
Okay, Honorable.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Chair, I'm not logged out. I'm still on. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You can go ahead, DM.
My apology on the unstable network. The recognition of the quiescent
Okay,
means they
ahead,
will. Thank you. Can you hear me now? I can continue. The recognition
hear
of
you.
the
I can
recognition
hear
of
you, sir.
Thank you very much. The recognition of the quiescent means they will have their identity similar to the other indigenous groups in South Africa. They will also promote and protect their own customs, traditions, and cultures. They will also establish their own communities and claim land that belongs to them for such establishments. Also, they will develop their own language until it is used also for learning purposes, where they can now print their own literature, the Bible, the dictionary, and later into the textbooks when it is ready to be taught in schools, including the national radio stations that needs to be also be established. We have started with provincial roadshows as part of consultations on the new legislation. The aim of this engagement is to discuss with the quiescent communities on the process to be undertaken to facilitate the recognition of the quiescent communities as per the provision of the TKLA. The Act will also close gaps in the current legislation and will strengthen the developmental role that the institution plays in traditional communities. We also note and welcome the new program instituted by the National Traditional and Quiescent Leaders called the Developmental Monarchs. It comes at a time when the TKLA itself emphasizes on a new model of encouraging partnerships for development which will benefit their communities. For an example, the mining activities, forestry, fishing, cultural heritage, golden economic activities, all of them will have to take a new way of partnerships that benefits largely their communities. Honorable members, in March this year, Cabinet reaffirmed the resolution of the 2017 Traditional and Quiescent Leaders Indaba on land administration, land tenure reform in communal areas, which was the fundamental demand for land to be transferred to communities under the custodian of traditional leaders. Cabinet further resolved that the process of consultation on the land consultation must and will lead to the Department of Agriculture, led by the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural, as the custodian of land held in trust on behalf of the communities, needs to be embarked upon so that we could then conclude on the consultation that will culminate on the land indaba during the month of September 2021. Honourable members, traditional leaders continue to play an active role in the implementation of the Agrarian Revolution program in addressing food security and unemployment, thus improving livelihoods of our rural communities. In the previous financial year, the department embarked on a process of remodeling the Agrarian Revolution program. As such, the department has signed an MOU with the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. This approach will be beneficial since it requires an integrated and collaborative approach, which will find expression through the district development model and ensure alignment with the agriculture and agro-processing master plan. Nelson Mandela predicted the economy and developmental role played by the rural communities when he said, and I quote, "What is often overlooked is the immense untapped potential of rural communities to take the lead in shaping a better future for themselves. In February this year, the Minister of Culture, Lamini Zuma, together with Nkosi Mahlangu, chairperson of the National House, launched the Invest Rural Master Plan. This initiative that refocuses society's attention on rural areas to tackle the rural challenges and turn the situations into investable opportunity that works with the rural people and ensure their full participation in the economy. Honorable members, as we are approaching the winter initiation season, depending on whether the third wave hits us as a country and also dependent on COVID-19 regulations, our concern is now focused on us saving and protecting the lives of young people if this season is going to be continued with, for them to take pride in practicing their own culture. Our objectives as government is zero death, as one death is too many. The cultural practice of initiation is our pride as Africans, and government has the responsibility to protect the lives of the young people who are certain to enter into that stage of graduating from being boys to adult. We wish to express our appreciation to the Portfolio Committee and Select Committees of COGTA in Parliament for their tireless work to prioritize the processing of the passing of the customary initiation bill. The bill, which is awaiting for the President to sign it into law, its aim is to provide for the effective regulation of customary initiation practice, to provide for the establishment of National Initiation Oversight Committee and Provincial Initiation Coordinating Committees and their functions. Again, the provision in the law has other aspects of punishing the wrongdoing by people who kidnap, injure, or run illegal school with minimum and maximum sentences that will be imposed on the perpetrators. We hope that it will clean up the wrongdoing within the pride of our culture. We also want to commend the work of the CRL Rights Commission, having gone through the hearings, which they conducted in 2019 on the wrongdoings that are happening in the churches. We took advantage, who take the advantage of the people's belief systems and who makes people to perform things that are shameful to their religion, such as eating grass, drinking petrol, sprayed with dim, and many, many others. We hope that the recommendations that are contained in the report will be considered by Parliament, and we need to start engaging with the religious leadership on harmful religious practices. Lastly, to keep on the process of engaging on aspects that undermine the cultures, such as the incident that happened at Boulder Shopping Center. We want to commend you, CRL, for doing that and keep up the good work. The Commission, together with the National House, must have engagements and also with their religion that will culminate on the promotion of our cultural practices, religious freedom, and dealing with those cultural practices and religious harmful practices that are harmful and that needs to be discontinued in society. Honorable members, local government is the heart of the lives of the people of South Africa. It is where we get the water we drink, the electricity we use, the roads we drive in, the parks that our children use to play, and it's about building healthy living communities. A narrative, what is long story by John Lennon on what he said could be the ideal community and a municipality, and I quote, "You may say I am a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Together we can bring this city and surrounding areas closer to our ideal vision. But in order to build a place that better suits the needs of everybody, we need everybody's voice and everybody's help. So stand up," close quote. The department has set clear indicators that set to address the problems at municipalities that include to improve the poor governance and accountability, weak functional management, high vacancies in critical senior management position, high infrastructure backlog, and in some instances, inability to deliver even a core of basic municipal services efficiently and effectively. Myself and the Deputy Minister of Finance are on roadshows to provinces, engaging with the premiers and members of the executives to really begin to look at the support that is given to the municipalities using Section 154 so that we don't have to wait until the municipality is in serious deep crisis. This exercise is coming okay. that we are able then to fund each other so that we support municipalities maximally as the constitution obligates on us. Secondly, it is for us to introduce the provisions of the Intergovernmental Monitoring Support Intervention called the IMSI bill. Once concluded by the cabinet, it will then be presented to Parliament for tabling and considerations, and we hope this will happen within this financial year. The district development model already is in function, and then we are therefore engaging with all role players, the state-owned entities, the traditional leadership as important stakeholders to ensure therefore that the planning development of communities, they are part of it. When we talk about one budget, one plan, they are also part of it. In conclusion, the ministry is committed to restoring the dignity and integrity of the institution of traditional leadership and local government. I would like to thank my family, my staff in the office, the Cooperative family for continued support that we can execute the manifesto of the governing party. We support the budget vote 15 of the Department of Treasury Affairs, which has consistently in the past 5 years has been receiving clean audit. The budget is minimal, it can't fulfill some of the objectives and mandate, and as expected to do the service to the traditional communities. The support for budget vote 3, which has improved in its audit findings, is critical to ensure the great strides that the department has laid in serving the people of South Africa with pride and dignity, as well as building block for a resilient, safe, sustainable, prosperous, and growing communities. As the words of Nelson Mandela, he said, it is always seems impossible until it is done. I thank you, Chairperson. I was able to finish my speech.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Honorable House Chair.
Deputy Minister. I had
Chair, here.
Honorable Ngumalo.
Yes, Chair. Can I debate on behalf of Princess Angela? I was locked out when you called for my name for the IFP.
I would like to take advice from the table about that, Honorable Ngumalo. Just stay on the platform. I'll take advice on that.
Thanks, Chair.
Okay. I wanted to say, Honorable Deputy Minister Bapela, I had to tread very carefully in making sure that you use all the available time for your good self. I mean, with the name K.O. Bapela, who would not be cautious?
Definitely, Chairperson, I agree with you.
The next speaker is from the ACDP, the Honorable Thring.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. The ACDP recognizes the right of any sovereign nation, including Israel, to protect itself from unprovoked attacks. No nation, Chair, when it comes under enemy fire of thousands of rockets, can sit by and leave its innocent citizens defenseless. We call on the South African government in this case to play a peace-broking role, a diplomatic role of working toward a two-state solution for the Israelis and the Palestinians. That said, the ACDP is aware that the budget for the Department of Cooperative Governance in respect of 21-22 financial year reduces by almost 10% when we consider vote 3 and 15, from 106.9 billion in 2020-21 to 100.8 billion in 21-22. Clearly, this reduction of some 6.1 billion under these trying economic times impacts further on service delivery or the lack thereof. The ACDP is cognizant of the concerns and issues raised by the committee and reflected in the APP of the department. These include...
Honorable Thring, can I take a point of order? What's your point of...
Yes, Chair.
Chairperson, this is the debate on cooperative governance and traditional affairs. What has that got to do with international relations and the speaker asking for support for apartheid Israel?
Honorable member,
what is the relevance?
It's got nothing to do with you because it's not your call.
No, but thank you for the defense, Chair.
What's the relevance here?
You're disturbing him, Honorable member, please.
What he was
refrain
reading
from doing that. Honorable Frank, could you please continue?
You are debating COGTA here, not Israel, not those things of Zionist Israel.
The minister raised the debate
honorable
when she
members.
opened it.
Honorable members, please. I do not think that members of the EFF are monitors of this debate. Leave members to complete their speeches. It's not your call, please. Let us not disturb each other unnecessarily. You will get your time, we've got your time, nobody disturbed you when you put forth your debate. Honorable Thing, could you please continue?
Thank you, Chair. The ACTP is cognizant of the concerns and issues raised by the committee and reflected in the APP of the department. These include the district development model, concern about it, municipal infrastructure grant expenditure, the implementation of Section 139 of the Constitution, municipal financial viability, the functionality of the Municipal Public Accounts Committee and disaster hazards. There can be no doubt that a monitoring and intervention bill to give effect to Section 139 of the Constitution is much needed. And one wonders why this bill, which has been on the department's APP since the fourth administration, has not been fast-tracked. Surely, if one acknowledges the report of the Auditor General on the dismal performance of the majority of our municipalities, then a monitoring and intervention bill based on the principles of good governance is sorely needed. Honorable House Chair, it is said that everything rises or falls with leadership. In this regard, the ACDP believes that the Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent has contributed to the fall of many municipalities across the country. An example of this follows the engagement with the Ledwele Putswa district, which revealed that there were only 4 MISA engineers for the entire Free State. This begs the question, how is MISA going to support the envisaged 44 districts to reduce infrastructure backlogs and improve performance in respect of their municipal infrastructure grant programs? Now, Chair, sub-program 7 on municipal governance in program 3 of the department's 21-22 budget sees an increase of over 5,000%. Good governance, Honorable Chair, refers to structures and processes that are designed to ensure accountability, transparency, responsiveness, rule of law, stability, equity, and inclusiveness, empowerment, and broad-based participation. A failure to employ these fundamental principles will see a 5,000% loss in municipal governance and a throwing of good money off the bad. The type of leaders needed in local government are able, trustworthy, God-fearing men and women who hate dishonest gain. The ACDP has such leaders. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Fring. Honorable members, the Honorable Buthelezi could not come in from the IFP, not because of his making, but I will therefore accommodate him at slot number 12, where there is AIC, if AIC is not available, or we'll take the next one, Honorable Malo. The next speaker on the platform is from the ATM, the Honorable Mahau.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. The late Mr. Kimi Makwetu, in his latest local government audit report, late in 2020, paints an undesirable picture of billions of rands of funds allocated to municipalities being managed in a way that are contrary to the prescripts and recognized accounting principles. He strongly cautions that these administrative and governance lapses make for a very weak accountability and the consequent exposure to abuse of the public purse. The overall theme of his report was quite damning. He said, I quote, "The safe and clean hands that can be relied upon to look after the public purse in local government are few." Due to time constraints, Chairperson, I will sample only 3 provinces to illustrate that with desperate need, the forthcoming local government election to remove the corrupt and incompetent ANC-led municipalities. I will start with the Eastern Cape. The Ages report tells us a story of a widespread lack of financial controls and project monitoring is an ongoing culture of a lack of accountability. as well as tolerance of transgression, which resulted in a further regression in audit outcomes. In the province, improvements were rare, and the general trend over the past 3 years remained negative. 8 municipalities were unable to adequately support the information reported in their financial statement and required disclaimed opinions. The report includes irregular expenditure of 2.5 billion incurred during the year under review, and further 4.2 billion was flagged for audit financial subsequent to the cut-off date for this report. Province spent a total of 118 million in consulting costs for financial reporting. This 2 million was spent by municipalities whose audit had not been finalized by the cut-off date of the report. The only problem we are saying is that consultants are appointed, but there are no skills that are transferred to the officials of the municipalities. So they continue appointing consultants, whereas that money is supposed to go to service delivery. Free State has experienced 1.4 billion for irregular expenditure, 46 million on consultants, and even in Free State, the same problems that of non-transferring of skills by consultants to the officials of municipalities. Gauteng Province, 1.7 irregular expenditure. A further 3.3 billion was reported for audit finalized subsequent to the cut-off date for this report, with the city of Tshwane Metro account for 2.9 billion and Mfuleni account for 358 million. What we are saying as ATM, we are calling for an urgent intervention by the minister. The heads must roll, Honorable Minister. We are tired of listening to the platitudes and hollow promises.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The time is up, Member Mahau. Thank you very much. I wonder whether Honorable Lesoma is ready.
Yes, Honorable House Chair.
Okay, we were about to call the Honorable Mpumza. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair Daden Tombela. Now I recognize the Honorable Member Gigi Mpumza. Over to you, sir. Honorable Mpumza.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Chair of the House. Am I audible?
You are audible, Honorable Mpumza.
Honorable Chair of the House, Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, Honorable members, and the heads of the agencies of the department. Chair, I rise on behalf of the African National Congress to welcome the Budget Vote 3 cooperative governance, which supports the critical aspects of economic reconstruction and recovery of the country. Honorable Chair, the ANC has long recognized that job creation and decent work is central to reduction of poverty, inequality, and unemployment. As the President has indicated on numerous occasions, the rebuilding of South Africa from the ruins of COVID-19 must transform the structural fault lines of apartheid and colonialism. The role of local government in driving economic development and transformation is critical for setting South Africa on an inclusive growth trajectory. While the fiscal constraints are acknowledged, this budget creatively allocates funding to sectors of the economy that stimulate growth. Therefore, strengthening intergovernmental alignment of national economic development programs with the local economic development plans of municipalities in the local space will impact positively on job creation opportunities and economic growth. We know, Chair, that the infrastructure is the largest spending program on the economic development function in the budget. And the capital expenditure programs are protected from budget reduction. A clear commitment, a clear ANC commitment to investing in infrastructure as a catalyst for economic growth. We are saying that regulatory reforms should also encourage investment to drive economic growth and job creation in the local space. In order to fund new bulk water projects and maintain raw water, the spending in the 2021 financial year is 28.6 billion to 30 billion in 2023-2024. And this is expected, it has grown, and then as a result, as part of our oversight, we must ensure that infrastructure projects are driven through localization by using South African suppliers, material, and South African companies, thereby empowering young people and women in cooperatives so that we are in a position to ensure social integration and social cohesion by purposely linking local economies with district and national economies. We massify and optimize and transform the structure of the economy. It is therefore imperative that we strengthen the policy and the implementation of cooperative programs for youth and women in order to eradicate poverty and enhance once more social cohesion. Chair was saying the land reform program, when it's neatly tied to integrated regional spatial planning, as envisaged in the Spatial Planning and Land Use Management Act, shall go a long way to render rural and urban dwellers to live in sustainable human settlement close to economic opportunities and social infrastructure. Therefore, the local sphere of government must create conducive conditions for the development of small, medium-sized enterprises and startups to ensure that we build the economy within the context of the district development model, so that the district hubs become the supporters and facilitators of such economic activities in the local space. We appreciate the input by Honorable Rings in relation to our policy of greater development, but we want to remind Honorable Rings that the example of a well-run city of Cape Town is indeed well run for some, but is run down for the people of Khayelitsha, the people of Philippi, and the people of Clairefontaine, where spillages, sewer spillages, are running down the streets for months, 6 months down the line. And that is indicative of a well-run city as an example by the Democratic Alliance. Chair, as the ANC, we are unapologetic in our determination to use the budget with the levers of the state power to drive a thoroughgoing economic transformation in line with the NDP vision. We therefore, as the ANC Portfolio Committee, support the budget vote 3 of cooperative governance and traditional affairs. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pumsa. You are on time. Well done. And now I recognize Honorable Member from AIC. AIC. It seems like AIC is missing in action. Now I recognize Honorable Member from the IFP, Honorable IFP Member.
Thank you for the opportunity once again. Honorable Chair, the IFP has repeatedly voiced its concern about the state of municipalities across the country. Now, the level of mismanagement and irregular expenditure has reached an unaccountable high, unacceptable high. And it seems that this wave of corrupt conduct on the part of the public officials then is unabated. In light of the critical role that local government has been tasked with playing during the pandemic, the state of affairs is quite concerning, as citizens are left at the mercy of corrupt officials to provide emergency water, increase sanitization of public transport and facilities, food, shelter for the homeless, as well as basic and community services. Now, Chair, the IFP wishes to express its concern over the last 3 years. The department has received negative audit findings. The department charged with handling billions of rands from the public purse, is an alarm to which we must collectively respond. It is indicative of a culture of impunity when it comes to an unlawful conduct and misappropriation of funds. Further, the Office of the Auditor General had noted that despite these unfavorable audit outcomes, corrective action needs to address these previous qualification areas, particularly relating to accruals, payments, and irregular expenditure, have not yet been implemented. Now, the IFP echoes the AG's concerns regarding this. Some projects spending almost all the budget but having very low performance. Disparities like this speak to the heart of the poor governance and lead to the trust deficit that is currently existing between the public and our government. We note with concern the reduction in the department's overall budget allocation. Now, this reduction has implications for institutional development and the community work program. Further, the funding model for this municipal infrastructure support agent is worrying, as this will hamper MISA's ability to execute its mandate effectively. Now, the IFP strongly suggests the re-evaluation of this model for optimal operation. The IFP recognizes the integral role of COGTA in addressing numerous and critical needs across the country, especially in such unprecedented times. However, we remain concerned that the vehicle through which large amounts of public finances are channeled have become seeds of unscrupulous individuals to line up their personal coffers. And because this inflexible profiling of funds to this COVID-19, there is very little of the current financial predicament can be assigned to the interruption of projects and to the diversion of funds by the pandemic. Now, honorable members, the IFP once again demands to see more visible accountability and sanctions when it comes to public officials who have been found guilty of having broken the law. We simply cannot tolerate this lack of discipline in the financial management. We need to ensure that proper checks and balances are enforced. Further, failure will be the expense of those who are most vulnerable in our society. Those that are desperately reliant on the access to essential services will end up paying the ultimate price, and it will not be the first time this time. The IFP supports this report. I thank you.
Thank you, Zwide. Thank you, Zwide. Now I recognize Honorable Sibisi from the NFP. Honorable Sibisi.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. The shocking state of South Africa's municipalities was uncovered last year after the Auditor General released its local government audit outcomes for the previous financial years. That report showed that there was a regression in the audit outcomes under the current local government administration than in its third year, Honorable House Chair. The AG further showed us that over a 3-year period, the audit outcomes of 76 municipalities regressed, with only 31 improved. Now, in the midst of COVID-19, we can only imagine by what extent the municipalities have regressed. Patiently wait to see the audit outcomes and whether they will exceed the previous levels of fruitless expenditure. The breakdown of irregular expenditure per province is as follows: Eastern Cape, 2.5 billion incurred during the year under review. Free State, 1.4 billion for the year under review. Gauteng, 1.7 billion for municipalities. KwaZulu-Natal, 6.5 billion for the period under the review, with eThekwini Metro incurring 2.34 billion.
Honorable Sibisi, we lost you.
Of this amount. Limpopo, 1.5 billion for the year under review. Mpumalanga, 1.09 billion. Oh, House Chair. House Chair. Honorable House Chair.
Kuba baba siyakuzwa, uchair is muted.
Oh, thanks, man. Bearing in mind the municipality's irregular expenditure, the minister in her budget speech last year told Parliament that COVID-19 did not spare the municipalities because revenue collection was affected. So to ease the burden, municipality received an allocation of 20 billion. These are significant amounts of irregular expenditure, and it would assist us to attend to this matter, especially now that we are seemingly approaching a fiscal cliff. The National Freedom Party would like to appeal to the Minister and SALCA to look into the underperformance of municipalities in this seemingly failing economy. This country does not need dysfunctional municipalities. We note the budget, but appeal to the Minister to hit the call to address the underperformance of municipalities. We therefore support the bill. Thank you, House Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Spisi, and I'm not too sure whether Honorable Mkalipi was assisting or what, but you'd listen to him, but I think to her, but I think you should listen to me. Now it brings me to recognize Honorable Hatebe from the ANC, Honorable Pungan.
I was assisting you, Chair, ngoba I saw that you are muted.
No, let's leave it. Let's proceed, honorable members. Honorable Hatebe with an H.
Thank you, Chair, and my apologies, my video is malfunctioning. All protocol observed, Chair. The main objectives of the liberation struggle was the total transfer of power from the apartheid racist regime to a democratic majority. The focus in this phase is to build an effective developmental state that is capable of transforming social and economic relations of power in the society. The creation of a developmental state has been dampened by factors that include political and administrative interface, instability in the administrative leadership, and skills deficit. These weaknesses in capacity and performance are most serious in historic and disadvantaged communities. Honorable Chair and Honorable Minister, we therefore welcome the 2.9 billion allocated to OR Tambo District Municipality as earlier on announced by the Minister. On oversight work, Honorable Chair, in our oversight work, we have found that the shortage of skills and the lack of professionalism negatively affect the public service in all levels. In municipalities, recruitment structures tend to allow too much political interference in selecting and managing senior staff. This results in a turbulence in senior posts, which in turn undermines the morale of public servant and citizen and loss of confidence in the state. The report of the Auditor General has raised challenges pertaining to human resources in local municipality as one of the factors which contributes to the underdevelopment, as monies which are meant to address service delivery issues are wasted paying consultants while retaining a very high salary bill. Local government, many of which have experienced a severe deterioration in basic service delivery in recent years, needs to institutionalize the financial management reforms where there is a significant underspending. The development and retention of a capacitated human resource in a critical it's a critical factor that needs to be taken into consideration in the quest to building a developmental state. It gives the state a competitive edge and that enables transformation to take place. We must make a public sector attractive to young professionals who are beaming with new ideas and will come up with innovative solutions. Hence, we appreciate the training of 390 young people and those municipalities who subsequently absorbed them as announced by the minister in her speech earlier on. We further call upon the department to expedite the process of remodeling the community works program. We welcome also the target as announced by the minister of 250,000 participants for this year. On the deployment of qualified counselors and staff, and Honorable Chairperson, we are headed towards the local government as announced by the president on the 27th of October. The ANC has been engaged in a political discourse about the caliber of public representatives that it must deploy. The ANC will ensure that in its internal system, we select only the best candidate for local government. As part of the renewal, the ANC will select the best cadres for political deployment, and we further encourage cadres of the ANC to continuously improve themselves by studying further. If we look at the state of metropolitan municipalities that were handed over to the DA through collision after the 2016 local government election, all of them have collapsed due to political and or administrative failure. The main content of the developmental state is that it seeks to effect socio-economic transformation, reduce inequalities, deepen transformation and inclusion of Black women, youth, people with disabilities, and members of LGBTQI communities. We welcome the investment rural master plan and the hectares made available for this plan. Under the ANC, our municipalities will use their power to buy local goods, services from local producers. The buying power of the state at the local level should be used to stimulate local demands, create value chain, and create a system of innovation. Now, Honorable Chair, allow me to address Honorable Brink. It appears as Honorable Brink is suffering from island of memories because he only remembers what he wants to remember. Yet in his own party, the white supremacists has forced Musi Maimane, Bongosi Madikizela, Herman Mashaba, Patricia Delil, to mention but few, to step aside in order for DA to preserve the white supremacy and white minority. Because DA at this current juncture, they are done and tired of experimenting with Black leaders. Honorable Brink, why about ANC stepping aside? The recent by-election results speaks volume about the confidence our people still have in the ANC. By the way, Honorable Brink, the ANC has won a award from the DA in Knysna, Western Cape. Now, the only thing that needs to step aside is white supremacy and the DA. I thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Member Pungane. Now I recognize Honorable from COPE. COPE, Honorable Member. Honorable PAC. It seems like they're missing in action. Then we'll move to Honorable Al-Jama. Honorable Hendricks, over to you, sir. Same applies. I now recognize Honorable Spice from the DA, Spice from DA.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, in considering this budget vote and annual performance plan, I cannot help but be reminded of our committee oversight last week. I left the Northwest Province saddened and angry and hopeless, not only because of what I heard and what I saw, but also because of the total disregard for people. How can public representatives so blatantly slap their communities in the face? After a week, back in my home province, the Western Cape, I've slowly recovered and have hope again. The recent Ratings Africa Municipal Financial Stability Index found the top performing municipalities in the country to be in the Western Cape. Whether you want to believe it or not, the top 6 performing municipalities are DA governed, of which 5 are from the Western Cape, and the 5 worst performing municipalities are governed by the ANC. And no, we are not saying that we are perfect. We have our fair share of mistakes. But on average, we outperform the ANC in every single municipality where we govern. Mayor for mayor, audit report for audit report, street light for street light. And that's why people move from towns and cities where the ANC governs to towns and cities where the DA governs in hope of a better life and better opportunities. And Honorable Mpumza, in terms of Khayelitsha, the ward councillors from that ward is from the ANC. They are missing in action. they're not attending meetings, and the best thing that the electorate can do is choose different leaders this time around who represents their interests. However, taking these challenges into account, our municipalities perform despite this. It's testament to the confidence that members of the public have in how their money is well managed and not stolen or wasted, as the case is in ANC municipalities. So what makes these top municipalities stand out from the rest? It is clearly not throwing another model at them or throwing millions at them. No, it is getting the basics right. It's about delivering proper services at the right time, proper and sound financial management, good governance, and commitment to effective oversight and accountability. The top performing municipality in the country, Mossel Bay, is a perfect example of just that. Over and above 6 consecutive clean audits, they get the basics right. To them, it's about implementing and monitoring the system at its most basic level, setting weekly work schedules with constant monitoring and immediate intervention, even when only half a day behind. They have a service committee that sits every week. It's about realizing that every complaint about water leaks and potholes is not handled in 48 hours. It will culminate in a total breakdown, even without you noticing the trend towards that failure. Long-term plans must be strictly adhered to because every lapse essentially creates a new plan that not everyone else is aware of, resulting in different outcomes and possible chaos. The Midvaal municipality in Gauteng is another example of getting the basics right. Midvaal only spends 24% of its total revenue of 1.16 billion on salaries, which allows for 130 million to be spent on various infrastructure projects throughout the year. They pay their creditors within 10 days on average, compared to the national average of 180 days. Unlike some ANC municipalities that run a salary bill that is higher than their equitable share, which means that once they have paid themselves, there is no money to deliver any services to its residents. The Attorney General last year strongly suggested, Chairperson, that other municipalities in Gauteng replicate the Midvaal's model of good financial and performance management. Yet the governing party refuses to reach out and learn from best practices because their egos are bigger than their commitment to deliver to the very people who elected them. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. That will bring us to Honorable Derrico from the ANC. Over to you. Honorable Derrico.
Thank you, Chairperson, Honorable Chairperson, Ministers and Deputy Ministers, Honorable Members of the House, Honorable Chairperson and members of the Portfolio Committee, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Chair, before I could start with my speech, I just want to clarify some few things. Chair, we are on the eve of the local government election, and we really understand when some of our colleagues from oppositions behaves like popcorns in a hot oil, because it is within their DNA to grandstand and also to exaggerate. We acknowledge the fact that we have challenges in local government as a result of corruption, poor planning, lack of accountability, etc. But not all that is lost in the midst of what I've just mentioned. There are some municipalities and councillors who understand why they were elected into their positions, who are dedicated to do their work and understand that we should put the interest of our people first. Funny enough, Chair, honorable brings come from the political party where racism is the order of the day, comes with uninformed allegations of racism in the ANC-led municipalities. ANC is a non-racial organization, which I cannot say the same about DA. As Honorable Hadebe has indicated, where is Musi Maiman? Where is Lindiwe Mazibuko? Just to name the few. Chair, as the ANC, we acknowledge that there are elements of corruption in some of the spheres of government.
Hence, in our national conference, the 2017 conference, we have taken a resolution to deal with corruption. Corruption knows no color, knows no status, and it is everywhere. Chair, not so long ago, the leader of DA was all over social media for 1.4 million. What was the money for? And what is it that the DA is done with the case? Because he was all over, 1.4 million. He was assaulted, and he's a leader of the DA. But they are quiet about the matter. And they are here to tell us about corruption. Whereas we as the ANC, we are acting on corruption. And Chair, Honorable Brinks spoke about the employment of capable public servants, of which I agree with him, because it was raised on the Auditor General and in many reports that we have that some of the employees in our institutions are not qualified. However, it seems a bit like a hypocrisy, because in the DA in Tshwane had at some stage employed Stephen van de Villas as the executive head of the mayor's office. And his only qualification that he had at the time was bodybuilding. I think as much as we raise issues, we must also clean our houses before we can come with other matters. Chair, honorable members, local government is a critical sphere of government which is in the whole phase of service delivery, and it serves as a direct link between our people and government. Local government provide critical basic services such as water, sanitation, electrification, housing, and many other community services. The African National Congress has acknowledged the weaknesses in the local government and need for major intervention to ensure that all our people receive service delivery that is due to them and to uphold their rights and dignity. Failure of local government will result in the provision of poor service delivery, which will negatively impact the lives of our people. One of the major impediments to effective service delivery is one of corruption and crime. Crime is a destructive, and as this manifests through theft of municipal assets and the vandalization of municipal infrastructures and facilities. Our communities should take full ownership together with municipality to protect the public asset and ensure that all those who damage and steal the municipal properties are brought to the book. African National Congress has drawn a line in the sand on the endemic challenge of corruption and culture of no consequence management. Government structures and accountability in local government is central in addressing the challenges of corruption, which steals from our people and leads to underdevelopment. As I've indicated, the ANC National Congress of 2017 came out strongly against corruption and identified it as a strategic enemy to the creation of developmental state. Hence, we have taken resolutions that are dealing with corruption. And also, Chair, the Auditor General in the report titled, "Not Much to Go Around, Yet Not the Right Hand at the Till," which looked at the state of financial management in local government, highlighted some of the weaknesses of governance structures and systems on financial management arising out of the Auditor General report, where the issues of municipalities that fail to achieve a clean audit, the issue of municipalities that regress, the issue of wasteful and irregular expenditures, which also impact negatively on the municipalities. Parliament has also led an amendment of the Public Act to empower the Auditor General to recoup funds on material losses in order to ensure consequence of floating supply chain management process for corrupt ends. These additional powers are consistent with the resolve of the ANC government to improve accountability and consequence management in the public service. Through the Municipal Revenue Enhancement and Audit Outcomes Program, the department seeks to enhance such weaknesses as supported by this budget. The report of Auditor General also raised that some of the challenges in local government centered around human resources, and the main cause of wasteful expenditures is that municipalities spend large sums of money on financial consultants and yet at the same time retaining high salary bill, which is not value for the money. The development and retention of well-capacitated human resources is critical in the quest of building a capable state, especially a developmental state that is interacting with the market forces and seek to champion the developmental agenda. The Municipal Systems Act, which provides for the establishment of MPEC, will also assist in providing more oversight on the municipal funds and will assist in ensuring that wasteful expenditures is kept. There is also a need to strengthen the implementation of Section 71 of Municipal Finance Management Act, which provide financial system which must be put in place for early warnings. Honorable members, there's a need to address the challenges faced by local governments such as institutional, political, and financial weaknesses in more holistic manner. Hence, as the committee, we have adopted some bills and we also referred some bills to NCOP for public participation. Those bills will assist in ensuring that we achieve our objective. The political leadership in local government is vital for the success of governance. All political parties have obligation to play their oversight role and to represent the interests of the people. The political and administrative interface is one of the major challenges for our municipalities. Interference of political leadership on administrative process is one of the causes of the abuse of public funds. A toxic relationship between administration and politicians results in straining of service delivery. Political infighting in all political parties have negatively impacted the services in the municipalities. And the other issue which serves as a challenge is the councillors after local government poses a leadership challenge, as some of the councillors are new and at times lack local government exposure. The exit of the experienced councillors erode the institutional capacity of the institution. In this regard, the department and SALGA should continue to support the councillors and provide ongoing training to the new councillors after the 2021 local government elections. Councillors are the representative of people and should always account to the people. The ANC understands the needs to have a well-capacitated public services, but also a political leadership that understands the complexity of the political economy to provide leadership. In order to build a capable political leadership that is going to complement the public service, the ANC have put in place internal system to ensure that its public representatives acquires the knowledge and the skills to lead their areas of deployment. The ANC has established the OR Tambo School of Leadership Academy, which offers courses that will assist all our deployees to understand their roles and responsibility. Chair, our portfolio committee on corporate governance and traditional affairs held its meeting weekly as part of its oversight to ensure that there's accountability by local municipalities in order to improve the performance of municipalities. This has also given the portfolio committee the opportunity to zoom into the specific challenges hindering consequence management and the impediments to fight against corruption. This meeting also enabled us to get to the root cause of other financial challenges such as accumulating debt, lack of revenue collection, and structural challenges which weakened the capacity of local government. Government interventions such as Section 139 and Section 154 are one of the mechanisms of government to intervene in addressing financial challenges in local government. This intervention requires continuous strengthening such as they don't become an ad hoc. And in most circumstances, this intervention takes place when municipalities are already on its weak position. This results in intervention not making the desired outcome and impact. The research by Treasury on Section 139 intervention concurs with our observation. The main recommendation of this research paper titled Mind the Gap is that what is required to tighten implementation of financial warning system is one piece of overarching legislation that can be owned by both Proctor and Treasury and includes appropriate part of existing legislation that will guide the entire intervention framework. Chair, we also welcome the inclusion of the tabling of the monitoring and intervention bill by the end of this current financial year. The creation of an ethical and capable developmental state requires the strengthening of local government.
Wrap up, honorable member. Honorable member, wrap up. You are left with half a second.
Okay, as I wrap up, as the ANC, we support the budget vote and we also recognize the effort that have been made by government to include the traditional leaders in the running of the council. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Now I recognize the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Honorable Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. Over to you, ma'am. Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, we are not audible. We are not audible, Minister.
Let me.
Much better. Thank you very much.
Ask them. I'm still not audible.
You are now, ma'am. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
I am now.
You are, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much to all the honorable members, but in the interest of time, I might not be able to refer to all of them. Starting with the Honorable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, we will provide information to the Portfolio Committee all the time when they ask for it, except where there may be issues. Like one, I was checking, there are areas where we're still doing disciplinary proceedings, and that information may not be readily available until we have done that. Thank you. And then on what Honorable Shengi says about the new program. First of all, we reported on this program last year. We were just giving progress. Secondly, she should be happy because these young people are not going to be dependent on the state. They are going to be working and they are going to be creating jobs, forming co-ops, using the skills that they've now acquired. And they are going to be supported to start up businesses and so on. So she should be happy. They are not going to be working only for 2 days a week. They are going to be working all the time. Coming to Honorable Spies, I just want to say, yes, the DA municipalities may be well run, but if you look at the informal settlements and so on, how people live there and in some of the townships, you may find that the impact is not seen there in the dignity of people's lives, in a better life for all. So yes, you must run the municipality well, but it must translate to a better life for people. I can go through Mossel Bay if I had the time, even just access to water and so on. I want to just deal with what Honorable Brink said, because I think he's right that things went wrong at the beginning. And I will tell you which things went wrong at the beginning. Things went wrong at the beginning when our land was stolen and taken by force. When our people were put in dormitories in the townships to provide cheap labor in the cities, and the cities were only accessed by white people. And at night, there were actually curfews for Black people. So you had to be out of the city at a particular time. That's what went wrong at the beginning. When education was free and compulsory only for white people, that is what went wrong at the beginning. When rural areas were left without electricity, without clean water, proper roads, no schools, no clinics, no hospitals, and were left there to provide cheap labor for the mines and for the farms. That is what went wrong at the beginning. When there was job reservation for white people who may not even have gone beyond primary school, but jobs were reserved for them. That is what went wrong at the beginning. when municipalities were there and they were servicing white people. That's what went wrong at the beginning. When the economy was monopolized by a few and the rest of the Black people were left out of the economy, that's what went wrong at the beginning. When those who fought for freedom, the freedom fighters, like Tata Mandela, were called terrorists, that's what went wrong at the beginning. When they were locked up in prison for years and years, that's what went wrong at the beginning. And actually, their bodies were burnt, and those who were burning them were sitting and enjoying bride next to that. That's what went wrong at the beginning. Even now, you can see the legacy of what went wrong at the beginning. Take the Western Cape itself. Look at Langa, look at Nyanga, look at Khayelitsha, Mitchell's Plain. It's not different from Camps Bay and from many Bishop's Court and many other suburbs. So that is what went wrong at the beginning, not what you are talking about, because that's not where the beginning is. So you must identify where the beginning is, and you'll be able to identify what went wrong. And because I couldn't finish my speech, let me just say that I wanted to thank the Portfolio Committee. I wanted to thank SALGA. I wanted to thank all the entities that we work with, the Demarcation Board, the Commission for Religious and Linguistic, Cultural and Linguistic. I also want to thank the IEC that we are working with on local government. I want to thank the staff, the DGs in the two departments. And I want to thank the Deputy Minister, who's now holding a position for two Deputy Ministers, because we lost one of the Deputy Ministers. So I thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, we are reminded that the debates on agriculture, land reform and rural development budget vote, higher education and training budget, vote and sports, arts and culture. Honorable members, may you mute yourself, please. Arts and culture budget vote will take place at 16:30 on virtual platform. That concludes the debate and the business of this virtual mini plenary session. The mini plenary session will now rise. Thank you.
Honorable,
Long live the chair. Thank you very much.